The Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V are two of the best-selling small SUVs on the market today. Both are comfortable and economical on fuel. But which one is right for you? I'm Ryan.
And I'm Alana.
And we're from Edmunds. We test and review hundreds of cars each year, while CarMax buys, sells, and expertly appraises thousands and thousands. We're combining our car testing knowledge with CarMax's experience to help you make the right choice.
If your lifestyle is too big for a small car, but you don't want to wrangle a giant SUV or truck everywhere you go, you might be the perfect buyer for a small crossover. They have a raised up driving position, often come with optional all-wheel drive, and they make it easier to load kids, pets, all the gear for your active lifestyle than a low-roof sedan.
This is a 2019 RAV4, which is significant because it was completely redesigned for this model year. Toyota got this generation of RAV4 into fighting shape by dropping weight and toughening up its looks. Packed with the latest technology and an available hybrid option, the RAV4 is ready to take on this competitive segment. Honda introduced this generation of CR-V in 2017, and what we have here is the 2019. Though this design might be a little older than the RAV4, it's still an exceptionally well-rounded crossover. Unlike the RAV4, you'll have to wait for 2020 models to get a hybrid.
2019 RAV4s and CR-Vs are remarkably similar when it comes to price. Both have average CarMax prices in the $26,000 range. The RAV4 tends to be on the lower end and the CR-V tends to be on the upper end, but they're close. Whether you want the base trim or a fully optioned model, you're going to find that the pricing is similar up and down that range for both. Bear in mind that those average prices don't include things like taxes and fees, and a particular car's price might be higher or lower depending on things like trim, equipment, and mileage.
These two are like twins that try to dress as differently as possible from one another. The Honda, sophisticated and family-friendly, is like a neatly tucked polo shirt. But the Toyota, with its squared-off fenders and bulldog stance, is more like yesterday's overalls and a torn-up pair of Doc Martens. At the end of the day, they'll mostly do the same things. But let's dive into the features that make them different.
Ooh, it's tidy in here, like something you'd buy from a Swedish designer. There are a lot of soft surfaces like the big dash, the door panel, the armrest, and this very convincing wood trim. It's pretty. It's more classically handsome in the CR-V than in the RAV4, almost elegant, and that attention to detail pays off in space, too. There are tons of clever small storage solutions and plenty of space for you, too. We like the big door openings and the narrow sills that make it easy to get in and out. Only tall people, watch your knee on the right side. It's not a problem for me, but I'm watching out for you. This is a comfortable grown-up crossover. I feel more mature and reliable just sitting in it. Back here you'll find plenty of space for people and car seats. And speaking of car seats, look how easy it is to find the latch anchors.
Now here's an area where the RAV4 can really set itself apart from the crowd. Inside you've got these cool grips, dials, and a neat little passenger tray. It keeps the cabin fun and playful without taking itself too seriously, but it still can stand up to a trip into the mud or the snow. We also like these smooth lines and seamless panels inside. That indicates a high build quality, and it means they're not going to be rattling around or rubbing together while you're driving on the road. Now, we do wish the driver's seat would lower a little bit more, especially for taller drivers like me, and some of these materials come off a little bit cheap, but they will be easy to clean, and it's nothing that wouldn't look better with a little bit of dirt on it anyway. The back seat of the RAV4 has slightly less space than the CR-V, but interestingly, it does have a reclining feature to make you a little more comfortable. And when you're installing child seats, the anchors are easy to find. When it comes to interior, I think the CR-V comes out on top. At that price point, it's simply the most refined in the class.
It's almost fancy. It's got wood grain.
Let's talk about technology. Right off the bat, both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard, if you get the EX and higher trims. The base LX gets neither. Touchscreen technology in the CR-V has a bit of a learning curve because all of the commands are buried inside the menu, so you kind of have to know how to use the touchscreen to figure out how to find the commands. Except there is a physical volume knob, which I appreciate, only it's so small, it's almost comically small. I guarantee you are going to adjust your climate control about 100 times before you finally get the muscle memory for this little guy. The EX trims and higher get 4 USB ports. RAV4. You can never have too many. When it comes to driver aids, EX and higher get Honda Sensing Standard, which includes things like blind spot monitoring and proximity warnings. It also includes adaptive cruise control, which is a pretty cool technology.
Now, the RAV4 might be about to make half of you mad. First, the good news. Apple CarPlay is standard in 2019 RAV4s across all trims, so that's great, right? No? You're an Android user? Android Auto is not available in the 2019 RAV4 at all. You gotta wait for the 2020 model for that. But even without Android Auto, the technology in the RAV4 scored highly in our ratings, and here's why. The Bluetooth system connects quickly to your smartphone. There are 5 USB ports in the XLE trim and up, and the 8-inch touchscreen is a breeze to learn and understand. Now, sure, the graphics look pretty dated, and this basic stereo is really nothing to brag about. But this is still a really nice package that you can be proud to bring home with you. When it comes to advanced driving assistance features, this generation of the RAV4 comes standard with adaptive cruise control and automatic emergency braking. You also get lane keep assist, and that gently nudges the steering wheel as you're driving to keep it centered in the lane. Now, some of the time the tech can come off a little bit clunky, and you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel or else you get a stern warning. But in general, these are really helpful features, and it's great that Toyota includes them as standard.
On this one, the RAV4 comes out on top. Its technology is simply more convenient and easy to use.
I gotta go with you on that. The CR-V, it's a little clunky.
Open the rear hatch and you'll find 2 very competent cargo haulers. We consider the CR-V to be the master of crossover space. Not only is the rear hatch the biggest in the class, but the rear seats fold down easily for a massive 75.8 cubic feet. And you can adjust the height of the load floor. How cool is that? Answer, very cool. Look, your yoga ball won't roll out.
The RAV4 also has a substantial cargo hold with a wide entry and a low floor. And when you fold down the rear seats, you get 69.8 cubic feet of space, which is less than the CR-V, but still really good. We also like these metal hooks for securing loose items. And when you want to put your cargo cover away, there's a nice little space for it right here. I think there's no debate here. The CR-V is the clear winner thanks to Honda's trademark cleverness.
Yeah, nobody does storage space like Honda.
If you're shopping for a CR-V, I personally recommend looking for the optional turbocharged 1.5 liter. It has more power than the base engine, and it has great power delivery. You know, it's just really nice on the highway, quick enough to merge, and it's good at slow speeds as well. It has a lot of response. It does get a little bit loud when you really get on it though. So if you're the type of person who doesn't ever want to hear the engine roar, well, I guess don't get on it. Of course, there's more to how a car drives than just the engine, and if I was gonna give the CR-V like one word to describe it, it would be smooth. I mean, the engine is smooth, but also just all of the other driving inputs are smooth. Gas, brakes, steering, everything does exactly what you want it to do, exactly when you expect it to do it. It gives you a lot of confidence on curvy roads or at fast freeway speeds. If you need an SUV in your life, it's probably because you're planning on carrying around kids or dogs or, just a lot of people, distractions. So the last thing that you need is a car where you can't really see out of it and you're uncomfortable in parking lots when there's somebody asking for your attention elsewhere, say in the back seat, like, hey mom, I'm hungry, hey dad, are we there yet? So I can tell you that the CR-V has great visibility. It has very thin pillar up here so you can see what's ahead of you. It has a big back window that you can actually see out of, and for the few instances where you can't see out the windows, backup cameras and blind spot monitors.
When you're shopping for a RAV4, there's only one available engine, which we don't mind because it's smooth and efficient and actually has more horsepower than either of the Honda engines. But there are certain situations where an optional turbo would come in really handy. The Toyota may have more power, but it takes longer to put that power to the ground, and it doesn't have any of the punch that the CR-V does. This thing is comfortable. Toyota prioritizes comfort almost to a fault, and you can tell because of the soft suspension in this RAV4 that really sometimes makes it feel floaty. Now that helps you get over cracks and even potholes in the pavement with no problem.
but it does kind of feel like you're on a boat sometimes, and it's a comfortable boat, but it's still a boat. One other thing is, hear that? There's more noise that makes its way into the cabin of the RAV4 than the CR-V. And when you really step into the engine, hear that? Kind of a tinny sound, not the most pleasant thing in the world. But I do like how the body stays composed in sharp turns, even if you're taking them at high speed. I just wish I could say the same about the steering, which really takes its time deciding if it's going to respond to the commands you're giving it. And the truth is, a lot of people find this comfortable. For me, it's way too loose, and I prefer something sportier. Lastly, there's good outward visibility in this car. You have big windows, distinguishing features on all the corners so you know where your car is, and then clear camera angles to help you avoid that boulder at your campsite or one of those pesky poles that sneak up on you in a hardware store parking lot. I hate those things. For the driving portion, Alana, I think we agree the CR-V is just a much more refined ride.
Yeah, and it's got that punchy turbo.
There's no wrong choice between the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4. They just have different personalities. These little SUVs are big winners, useful and reasonably priced.
The RAV4 packs a ton of standard features into all of its trims, and there's a fuel-saving hybrid option. But the CR-V is more comfortable with a lot of space. That's why we like the RAV4 for outdoorsy types and the CR-V for a touch of luxury. So which one works for you? Let us know in the comments below. For more videos like this, click subscribe. And for an in-depth article on both of these vehicles, click the link below.